Back with the WMAY morning news feed. Now time for you to chime in at 217-629-7970 on this day after Thanksgiving. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got out there and did some shopping afterwards to walk off all that turkey hangover and the leftover hangover. But it's obviously the season for giving. Not only thanks, but Christmas around the corner and Hanukkah ongoing. I think that it's definitely got people in the holiday spirit. But I want to talk to you now about something that broke over the holiday, and that was what was going on with Omicron. Not Omicron. When I first started hearing this, I thought it had an N in there, but it doesn't. Omicron. And that's the latest COVID-19 variant. That is the variant of concern, according to the World Health Organization. And we got tons of headlines on this over the past 3 or 4 days here. But I want to hear from you. From what you've seen so far, do you think that there's significant concern here? Because the United States today is following the European Union's lead in prohibiting travel from several South African countries that were clear and transparent about finding this new variant. And the variant seems to have multiple mutations. It's unclear if it spreads faster. It's unclear if it leads to more serious injury or illness. It's unclear if it's impacted by the vaccine. While you've also got people saying you need to get the COVID-19 booster. But if you got this new variant of concern, and we don't know yet if it's effective, the vaccine's effective against this new variant, then should people get the booster? I mean, these are conversations that are ongoing here. We're hearing all kinds of different things. So I want to hear from you now at 217-629-7970. The Omicron variant of COVID-19, what you've seen so far, are you concerned? Good morning.
Good morning. You hear about all this stuff, and I've been hearing about these court cases this morning. The Smollett and the other
Ghislaine Maxwell, cop that thought they pulled a taser but pulled a gun. Yeah, there's some pretty high-profile cases out there for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know. I might have missed. There is a number out there you can call in to listen to that Ghislaine Maxwell case.
Oh wow,
it's out there on the internet. And it's kind of funny. All these other cases are brought forth, and that one's kind of pushed under the rug a little bit. But that's just my thoughts. Good morning. God bless everybody.
Right on. No, I appreciate that. Little off topic, but no, we did talk all last hour about a whole bunch of cases that are starting today. This after, the nation was gripped by the Kyle Rittenhouse case. You've got the Ghislaine Maxwell case. She is the close confidant of Jeffrey Epstein. Her case starts today. She's been behind bars since February of 2020 or something. But that case starting today. You've got the case of Jussie Smollett starting in Chicago. If you recall, back in January of 2019. I can't believe it was that long ago. But he faces, the case of making that up. And I think it's some kind of disorderly conduct charge. So we'll see how that plays out. But you've got other cases that are going to be dominating headlines as well throughout the week. But I want to talk to you about the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Are you concerned? Good morning.
Good morning. No, I think that they need to just keep Fauci out of the lab. They weren't getting enough people vaccinated, so now they got to have a scarier version yet. If we had young people, like 50% or something, maybe not even that, in the hospital with bad symptoms, fine, start shutting things down. But to be in panic mode all the time is just paralyzing and ridiculous.
Well, and I think you're seeing a lot of criticism of what some say is a knee-jerk reaction of limiting travel out of South African countries. These South African countries were transparent in notifying the world that they've found this Omicron variant, and they feel that they're being punished for being so transparent and notifying the world. So they're going to have impacts, and there's a lot of questions as to does even travel restrictions help limit things. It may just be more of kind of a psychological thing to ease people's minds. But, we've seen this play out before, even with the lockdowns that there were last year. Did it really slow the spread of COVID-19? you look at the numbers, and it doesn't really seem to have slowed the spread because we still had substantial numbers. So with this new Omicron variant, still questions about, does the vaccine work against it? Is it leading to more severe illness, or is it more contagious? These are things that we don't know yet because we just now got notified of this over the Thanksgiving break that Omicron is now the variant of concern. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, on some of this, my view is kind of like how we almost wiped out smallpox, but it's coming back from South America in places they weren't vaccinating, and it's mutating too. We're going to, it doesn't really matter whether or not the vaccines work if people aren't taking them. Two, you heard on the news they're saying that the monoclonal therapies aren't working as well on it from what they've seen early.
On the Omicron variant?
And if you look, the studies have shown that the third booster isn't really a booster. On the Pfizer and Moderna, they're finding that it's most effective if you've had 3 of them. So,
well, but there's also studies that show, those who've contracted COVID-19 and got over it have long-lasting immunity and a very low rate of people getting reinfected with serious problems. So yeah, there's studies all over the place when it comes to COVID-19, but we have this new Omicron variant. And the likes of Dr. Fauci and other health professionals being a bit cautious in how they approach this and saying, hey, we don't know everything we need to know about it yet. It's still early, but you still have some of those reactions, some say are knee-jerk reactions, and closing down travel, for instance. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, Greg. The health professionals in Africa or wherever this came from say that it's barely even noticeable, this new strain. It's like you might get a scratchy throat.
One doctor said that it causes unusual yet mild symptoms.
Right, the snotty nose. And, of course, you've probably heard this, that if you rearrange the letters of that new strain, it spells moronic.
I did see that. Okay. And it's the same thing, too. People are saying, well, hey, the World Health Organization that's so beholden to China, they skipped over the Greek alphabet for Nu and Xi. So they say that they skipped over it with Nu in U because it sounds too much like new COVID-19 variant. So they didn't want to confuse with that. But they also have a policy. Apparently, they don't want to assign a name to a virus if it's a popular surname like Xi is, especially in China, where the president of China's name is Xi Jinping. So some people kind of raising some eyebrows about that situation when it comes to naming this variant. 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, well, I'm not worried about Omicron, whatever. It's more like it's almost like a fear tactic, like they were using back after 9/11 happened, when they kept coming back with the terror threat levels, just to keep everybody in that system of fear, that cycle of fear. Now, why would they have that cycle of fear? Because we want you to get the jab. We want you to get the jab because we're making money. I think there's a depopulation thing behind it, but we won't go that far. But
and you've got therapies that are being discussed right now with COVID-19 pills from Merck and Pfizer and different types of therapies. So all of this kind of mixing together, it's all a lot of money for the pharmaceutical companies. That's for sure.
But Greg, think about the like autoimmune disorders. The jab is basically creating an autoimmune disorder within everybody's body. So that your immune system is going to attack your healthy cells now.
Well, and I think that, I've got to delve into the research on that myself, but it does boost certain types of immune response, and whether or not you have something that that immune response is meant to go after, that's another question altogether. But there are concerns that, we still don't know the full scope of this vaccine, right? And that's why, we're not even a full year of it actually being available. It didn't become available to the general public until spring of this year. So, even when we get to spring of next year, that's just going to be 1 year's worth of data. We're noting that it is waning a bit. That's why they want you to get the booster. But these are all conversations you need to have with your medical professional when it comes to your medical decisions. But if the vaccine is not thoroughly studied, that's going to leave a lot of people not willing to jump in and take the jab. And I think that those are concerns that people should take seriously. But one thing that's interesting about this in the mRNA vaccine platform, which is a totally different platform than has been used by previous vaccines, they're thinking they'll be able to quickly readjust the mRNA vaccines, the Merck and the Pfizer vaccines, to be able to go after the Omicron variant. So there's already, some of the vaccine manufacturers saying, they'll be able to quickly tweak this mRNA vaccine, this new vaccine platform, to be able to be effective against Omicron. Again, you're going to be switching the vaccine midway through this pandemic, and how are you going to be best studying that and making sure that it's effective and safe? All of this, it does, whether you like it or not, it breeds not distrust, but a reservation. If you want to call it hesitancy, I guess you could call it hesitancy. But the fact that it hasn't had a long-term study, the fact that they're thinking about changing the vaccine here to specifically target Omicron, what happens with future variants of COVID-19. So all of that plays into people's concerns. And I think it's important that we hear out those concerns. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning. Yeah, not worried about it in the least. Last guy had it right. It's all about fear and control. I saw a commercial over the weekend from that fraud Ezekiel saying that, you're eligible for a booster within 2 months of one of the shots. That's no vaccine. That's a joke.
Well, and I think that's why, a lot of people are thinking, vaccine is like when you get vaccinated against smallpox, right? It's just one and done type thing. I don't know if it was a series of shots, but this is seeming to be more of like a therapy than anything, right?
It's not a vaccine. This is fake. And by the way,
but it's not fake. It is, the data does show, all right, that those who are vaccinated who contract COVID have a lesser problem with COVID, right? The data does show that, but is it a vaccine or is it a therapy, right? I think that's where we really need to be clear on what we're doing here with this.
That was my point. It's fake to call it a vaccine. But here's the thing. It's so predictable. Every single time Christmas, Thanksgiving rolls around. I mean, this is just the lead up to Christmas. Everybody's got to stay away from their families. Now, I haven't missed a holiday since COVID came around. Me and my family have been together the whole time. Nothing bad has happened, thank God. But this is all about fear and control. And as long as people continue to play into it, they're going to continue to do it, period.
And you've got people protesting around the globe to the various COVID-19 policies that are being implemented to limit people's travel, to limit people going to work, to limit people taking part in society, vaccine passports, and you got to show your papers. There's a lot of protests around the globe that aren't necessarily being covered by mainstream news. And while over the Thanksgiving break, people were with family, they wake up, they open the newspaper, and then they see new variant of concern. And you got to ask, I mean, yes, COVID-19 serious. Yes, it impacts certain populations much more severely than others. And those populations need to, have caution and they need to take the proper precautions. But when it comes to, the general public, is it a concern or are people getting turned off by it? It's kind of like, the kid who cried wolf. Are you in that camp or do you feel that we do need to take this seriously? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, Greg, me again. I didn't know you had so many doctors on your show.
I know. Right. Yeah, everybody's a medical expert on Facebook and apparently on talk radio.
Yeah. Well, I guess, to me, I don't care whether it's a vaccine or a therapy. I really don't care. I guess the only thing I look at is when all this first started, in places like New York, they were stacking bodies like sides of beef inside of refrigerated trucks. And they had them everywhere. And since we all started getting the therapy or vaccine, that seems to have calmed that down. So maybe it saved some lives, but the one thing it has saved is it saved the toll on our healthcare system to where we don't lose people because we can't get to them. And to me, if that's what it does, if it saves a life from a therapy or a vaccine, I got no problem with it. I really don't. I'll take my chances down the road.
No, and I understand that absolutely, and I think that we need to have as many therapies available as possible. But sadly, a lot of times we see different countries complaining that rich countries are hoarding vaccines. While we're out there giving boosters to everybody in this country, you've got countries around the world that are struggling to get vaccine. So we definitely need to increase the availability of the therapies that are out there right now. Look at this COVID-19 pill that Merck and that Pfizer developed. So all of these things play an important role in ensuring that we don't have overcapacity in our hospitals. I think that's an important note. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Oh, I just got to press the button. Good morning. You are on WMAY. We'll go to this call. All right. This is going to be the last one, I promise. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Okay, and I will make it quick. Okay, I do agree that, gentlemen, we're not all doctors, but we are citizens, and I think we should have freedom of choice as to, our bodies and medical procedures. But I was going to tell you that I did hear there's going to be a protest rally Tuesday, tomorrow, from like 3 o'clock, starts at 3, St. John's Pavilion to Memorial. It's like a freedom of choice anti-vax rally, so just giving you a heads up on that one.
All right, tomorrow afternoon, you said?
Yes, around 3 o'clock.
All right, I appreciate you putting the word out there, I guess. All right, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here for WMAY.